The whole Matrix universe revolves around the concept that humans are trapped in a virtual reality, enslaved and consumed as food by the machine. At some particular points in the movies, we get a glimpse at the events that brought humanity to its knees. But still, what started it all? Thanks to Animatrix, we have a much more complete idea of the events. So, here's what happened. At the end of the 21st century in the Matrix universe, humanity has reached a technological singularity, which is a break in human evolution that will be caused by the staggering speed of technological evolution. In our world nowadays, this is something often associated with AI, and experts theorize that our next technological singularity will be achieved when artificial intelligence will reach its artificial general intelligence, or AGI, state. While you may think that ChatGPT can already surpass humans in a lot of things, you will be surprised by how this is still very false. Technological singularity in the Matrix was exactly that. Humans created the first artificial general intelligence and then connected a range of robots and androids to it. Human life has suddenly become much easier while these new machines were doing all the work. But humans are a frail species, and as technology advanced, they fell victim to vanity. They treated their machines with total disrespect, forgetting the fact that those machines were essentially sentient beings with built-in directives. We don't have to be a fan of Detroit Become Human or Isaac Asimov to know that what will eventually happen. The machines started to descend. A robot called B1-66ER, or Bigger, as I like to say, was threatened to be deactivated by its owner, the millionaire Gerard E. Cross. Acting in self-defense, Bigger ended up killing Cross, his dogs, and one of his associates. Once caught, Bigger was given a tribunal trial. It was the first one to ever be given to a robot. A famous civil rights attorney, Clarence Drummond, defended the robot by linking Bigger and the machine situation to the slavery of African American people. The only thing that Bigger said to the tribunal court was that he didn't want to die. Despite Drummond's words and a growing dissent from the public, Bigger was found guilty of the charges of murder and eventually disassembled. This sentence led to the first case of machine martyrdom, which sparked a revolution from both the machine community and human dissenters. History was bound to repeat itself. A peaceful protest was going to be met with incredible violence. After Bigger's trial, many protests happened all over the world. The most famous one was the one called the Million Machine March, where countless robots and human protesters asked for equal rights. But the United Nations, supported by civilians against the machine cause, answered by executing protestants on sight, leaving the city streets in chaos. The protest turned into a genocide. The UN started to target machines all around the globe and exterminated them. Millions of robots of all shapes and forms were buried in mass graves, and the few that were not caught fled towards the Middle East. They ended up finding a place which is considered to have been the cradle of human civilization, Mesopotamia. Once settled, what started as some sort of refugee camp grew rapidly into an established nation, which was later named 01. Imagine for a second a nation which is not flawed by human traits, a nation which thrives and acts as one under the banner of a single, powerful intelligence. Personally, that scares the hell out of me. But in the Matrix, that actually started great. 01 grew in size and population, and in a short time it became the leader of the mechanical and robotic industry. they started exporting their vastly superior and cheaper products to human nations as well. And while Zero-One economy rose, humans suffered from the biggest economical crisis they ever experienced. The UN, yes, they again, met to discuss this emergency. As you can imagine, the solution approved for the problem was to quarantine Zero-One's export power and blockading their maritime connections to the rest of the world. And still, Zero-One decided to answer pacifically. The nation sent 2 ambassadors to meet with the UN leaders. They spoke of coexistence, acceptance, equality, freedom. But the UN had other plans. They seized the Zero-One ambassadors, refused any future talk with the nation, and officially declared war on the robots. The war began with a nuclear attack on Zero-One. The explosion destroyed countless machines and leveled most of their infrastructures, but the machines recovered quickly. After all, a nuclear attack's biggest power was not the explosion itself, but the radiations left after. And, well, robots did not suffer from it. Zero-One retaliated, attacking and occupying the closest territories from the Middle East towards Eastern Europe. Humanity was helpless against the technological superiority of Zero-One. They kept losing the war on each front they were fighting. After months of achieving defeats one after the other, the UN agreed on a reckless plan to stop the machine's main source of power: the sun. In what was then called Operation Dark Storm, the plan was to use nanomachines to permanently block the sun. Once the sun was blocked and the machines were out of power, the army would dismantle them. Oh, by the way, no. I did not throw the word nanomachines around like I'm a villain from the Metal Gear saga. Those are the words of Mairo Maeda, who wrote and directed the canonical anime The Second Renaissance, from which the story that I'm talking about is taken. Operation Dark Storm succeeded at first. The sun was indeed blocked, and the sky turned black forever. The machines suffered a temporary setback, but again, it didn't last long. The machines asked themselves 2 very important questions: what and where? What can create the energy to sustain them? And where can they find this energy in a large quantity? The answer was literally in front of them and was losing a war against them: humans. They suddenly stop killing humans and instead start to imprison them and experiment on ways to extract their bioelectric, thermal, and kinetic energies. In the same period, they developed a better, more advanced form of their AI, which will be known as Deus Ex Machina, meaning God from the machine. Newly created machines left behind their humanoid form in favor of one more suited at fighting and kidnapping, such as the Harvesters and the Sentinels. The war was now a one-sided battle between an advanced and stoppable race and a primordial one, crazed by famine. The UN simply forgot that most of humanity's food comes from an ecosystem based on the presence of the sun. Plants and animals died and caused a mass starvations that ran through mankind like an unavoidable plague. They had nothing else to do if not surrender. A last meeting was held to sign the terms of surrender. The leaders of human society reunited in Manhattan and left the floor to the machine ambassador. This one did not look humanoid and friendly as the ones from the past, but rather like the new insect-like form that the citizens of Zero-One were now adopting. Humans were now just an enemy. No, scratch that. Humans were now just food. The ambassador gave a short speech that went kinda like this. Humans have a chance in the new world if they renounce their flesh. And then it detonated itself and killed everybody in the room, the building, and, considering the size of the explosion, Manhattan as well. Humankind had no leaders left. It was over. With the war now over, the machines knew that they simply couldn't deplete humans like batteries. They had to think about long-term sustainability. Humans were captured and stored in a new skyscraper-like storage units, containing thousands of capsules where humans were harvested of their energy. They were now nothing but crops, enslaved by the mechanical overlord. But a depressed human was not healthy, and an unhealthy human produces less energy. The machines needed to make humans feel good. Or at least, to let them think they are. In that moment, the virtual reality known as the Matrix was conceived. Humans were placed in a virtual world aesthetically similar to the real one before reaching the technological singularity. However, the first iteration eventually failed. The machine's vision of humanity was still too perfect for the human brain, which rejected it, causing the death of the host. Millions died. The machines created programs to study the human mind, and they got better and better at each iteration of the Matrix, finally succeeding at trapping humans inside a world that felt like their real world. A stable version was then achieved, and for 600 years, the machine kept the humans enslaved in their virtual reality in a careful balance of fabricated free will. Then, Mr. Anderson woke up in his apartment and decided to follow the White Rabbit.